Merry Christmas, guys. Happy Hanukkah, etc. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Willem, how you feeling about this Christmas season, the holiday season?
I'm. It's good. It's weird. I don't know. The older you get, I don't know.
Yeah.
Christmas doesn't. It's not the same, and it hasn't been the same for the last 10 years. So
Doesn't quite hold the same magic.
no,
to
it's
it.
no, it's magical. I don't know. You just kind of get busy when you have to work up until like the weekend before Christmas. It just kind of like, oh shoot, Christmas is in 3 days. It's crazy. And it's really crazy today because we're recording in the morning.
Yeah. Well, this episode's going to be a little bit of a weird one for a couple of reasons. That one included, but also this is a Christmas special. We finished our quote unquote season 1
Dun, dun, dun.
Earlier the month, and that ended on episode 25. This will not be episode 26.
No, it will not.
This is just a Christmas special.
Christmas special. It's Christmas time. But Tim really wanted me to press record because we were kind of having a lot of discussions about just movies and stuff, and I had a few questions because this is a movie discussion podcast. We discuss movies, we talk about stuff, and Tim's like, we should really be pressing play. And the question I just asked him was, how is he feeling about Kung Fu Panda? And I promise we're gonna get to Christmas. I promise. But
this is our preemptive conversation.
Yeah, this is our preemptive conversation just to kind of get it flowing. It's been like 2 whole weeks since we've seen each other. It's nuts.
It has.
And then it's gonna be like another 2 weeks. Well, we'll probably see each other during the New Year's and all that stuff. But yeah, first Wednesday of January is when we'll do episode 26. Anyway, the question I had for you, Tim, was how do you feel about Kung Fu Panda 4? Or the trailer?
I'm excited to see Tai Lung again.
I am.
Tai Lung was my favorite villain in Kung Fu Panda so far. I love Chen. I think the whole peacock thing, fireworks, etc. I think
Beautiful. He's my favorite, but Tai Lung is like right behind
Tai
him.
Lung is my favorite.
They're 2 different things in a way.
Yeah.
And that's why people are like, which one's your favorite? I'm like, well, that's what's so awesome about every single Kung Fu Panda villain is they're so unique. And that's what, DreamWorks villains, they are all so unique. You never feel like a repeat, unlike Disney. I swear I've seen quite a few of the same villains in a way.
Yeah.
So, but all of them are, in a way though, all of them are scorned in some way, and they all have a similarity of this. They all have this potential. All of the DreamWorks villains. I can think of some of the Disney villains, and I'm like, you're just a jerk. I really don't like you. I can't stand you. But I think of like most of the DreamWorks villains, and they all had like the biggest potential to be amazing. Farquaad could have been a wonderful king because I don't know, that one's kind of silly, but Fairy Godmother was just supposed to be this amazing figure granting all these wishes, and then she slowly got more corrupt over time. You have Tai Lung, who his story is
it's awesome. And it's a story that we've seen before many times, the classic trope of the young prodigy who is trained by the master and then is denied
his rights.
His quote unquote
rights.
rights to something that is not inherently his, and then he goes evil. We've seen it before, but Tai Lung, the way that they used Tai Lung to tell that trope,
his breakout scene is amazing.
It is one of the most iconic prison breaks ever.
When he smacks the arrow back through the big giant bow and arrow thing, and it just stares through, and the rhinos go, oh! I remember dying because that's Michael Clark Duncan, the big giant black man who played he's passed, who played John Coffey. It just made me laugh that he could make that noise, and because he plays all the rhinos, and just can we panic now? Yes. Just so good. So well done. I hope that they didn't spoil the ending in the trailer. Because
Yeah.
I'm terrified that we're just basically, they're pointing that Aquafina's character is going to be the new Dragon Warrior right off the bat. And I get it. I understand it. Kind of. I feel like Poe just became Dragon Warrior. And those people who are like, he just barely finished with the Kung Fu, with the pandas.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're going off kind of time-wise, it's probably been like a couple years. And he's only been the Dragon Warrior that long. So, I don't know. But honestly, I think we all want Tai Lung to be the next Dragon Warrior. Or at least...
I think that'd be cool.
Or at least, at the end, when everyone's kind of hesitant around him, he goes, I have found exactly what I need. You were right all along, Panda. And he just embraces Shifu, and he just becomes the next Shifu. And he trains the next Furious 5. That's what I'm hoping.
That'd be pretty cool.
I really hope he becomes the next Shifu and he trains the next Furious 5.
A nice redemption arc would be fun, I think.
and people make me so mad, though, because they're like, well, he died. No, he didn't.
No.
The third movie, I knew they were going to make a fourth movie. The second we learned that the Skadoosh didn't kill...
Mm-hmm. The Wuxi finger hold straight up just takes you to the spirit realm. That's all it does.
Freaking Aang should have used that more often. Skadoosh.
Uh-huh.
But the third movie, I was like, they're definitely going to make a fourth movie someday, and we're going to see Tai Lung again. And when they said Kung Fu Panda 4, I was like, Tai Lung's coming back. And oh my goodness, who do they show in the trailer? Tai Lung. I'm like, that's why they made that third movie. DreamWorks has had this planned for a quite minute. So I'm pretty sure they're going to finish full circle with their first antagonist, probably their best one, as becoming something better, because all of us want that for him.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have another random thought, and I promise we'll get to this, but so the original creator of God of War doesn't like where they took Kratos, because he hasn't been in charge of the games these past bits. And Kratos has his redemption in this new DLC they made. You literally are going against your past and learning to accept what you did and move on. And he's mad about it. And some people are like, well, it's his creation. He can be mad if he wants. And it kind of begs the question, why do I feel like, I don't know how to phrase this question, but sometimes I think just because you create a character doesn't mean you're good at expounding on that character. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes, from an author's standpoint, yes, that makes sense. There have been we do it almost every episode now. We'll talk about D&D for a moment. I have created villains before and enemies and NPCs that I thought I had their entire story planned out. And then along come the players and they say something, they do something, they give me an idea, and then I have to put it in there. And I have to make the villain, I have to change the villain's story a little bit. I have to change the world a little bit because it's better. And I'm not mad about it. I love it when my players are able to come in and they say something or do something that makes me realize, oh, that's better than what I was planning on doing. Let's do it your way.
How many times have we done this on that episode, on this show? How many times have one of us said
so
something,
many times,
and then the other person? That's why I think that's why the Russo brothers are such good directors, because they work together and they each have different takes on things, and they bounce ideas off each other. When you have one person, it slowly becomes this thing of, I'm going to stick to my ways and not learn to grow. And that's why I think, and it's funny though, because when you look at the guy who created Kratos and he's mad about this man, because I feel like he was just very bitter, and it drove me.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that maybe he's upset. He's more upset that he isn't working on his creation.
I feel like maybe that's it. That could definitely be it. But he hasn't worked on it since the second game.
Really?
Oh, yeah. If
So
I
the third game, the finale of Greece,
was not
was
him.
not him.
I think Corey
Okay.
Balrog and his name is, I think I've said his name right. That's his last name.
That is amazing.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Anyway,
That's awesome.
I need to double check real quick because now I'm gonna make you laugh.
And if that is his name, then it makes sense why he's angry.
This is the
Or
new
that's
director.
the new guy.
The new guy.
Okay.
His name is, let's see.
Well, never mind then.
Oh, sorry, Barlog.
Barlog.
Corey
Okay.
Barlog. But it always makes me laugh.
It's close enough.
He's been in charge of God of War since God of War 2. So literally the creator of God of War made one game, and then it got passed on to this man. This man, to me, is more of Kratos' father now, in my opinion. He finished Greece. He did the second game, which for me was the second game. Anyway, so I just found that interesting. I thought that was a good kind of thing to talk about. Since we talk about changing stories all the time on this podcast, I just found that was kind of a cool point to talk about. Now, my last question to you, and I promise we're going to get through this. It's only been 11 minutes, guys. You're fine.
You can be patient.
You could be patient. Just Christmas. But my last question to you is, so the question was put out on social media, and it said, which character should have been evil but wasn't? And the biggest one I saw was Obi-Wan Kenobi. He had all the reasons to become evil, and people are saying, honestly, if he would have killed Anakin and taken over as a Sith Lord, he never would have lost. And I went, what?
I don't know about that. I can definitely see where they're coming from, all the reason he had to be evil. And I think the biggest one for me is Duchess Satine.
I was about to say, I'm like, isn't
when
what's her face's sister?
When they basically, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Duchess Satine were in love.
What? No, they weren't. Jedis aren't allowed to be in love.
Which is a stupid notion that Luke is like, that's dumb. And in Star Wars Legends, he even gets married to the Emperor's right hand assassin.
Oh, geez.
Mara Jade.
But that's all gone now, right?
Oh, it's all gone.
Jeez.
Well, in the actual movies, it is. But
people are starting to say that those aren't canon anymore.
Yeah. Well, if I'm remembering correctly, who's the current director of Star Wars?
I don't know. I don't care anymore.
They basically said if he can create, he's gonna make 3 new movies. And what I heard is they basically said if he makes these 3 movies and they work and they're better and more well received than the sequels that we got with 7, 8, and 9, then 7, 8, and 9 are going to be retconned, and they'll be just a fun side story as a dream of the Emperor or as an alternate timeline that didn't actually happen. An alternate timeline if Luke ended up actually killing his father instead or whatever. Anyway, that's all speculation. I don't actually know for sure if that's actually what's going on. But yeah, I just, it's not my Luke. It's not my Luke.
Oh, and funny enough, that Rebel Moon movie that Zack Snyder directed is not being very well received. So I'm still planning on watching it when I have the chance, but
okay.
I find it funny that just anything Star Wars is just kind of not doing well at the moment. It's making me sad.
Yeah.
Because it's...
Ahsoka did well.
Did you like it?
I haven't finished it. I'm only like 3 or 4 episodes in.
I'm taking a
kind of
fat break from Marvel and Disney.
Yeah, I'm kind of all Star Wars'd out.
I'm all Disney'd out.
Mm-hmm. I'm not. I'm going back through right now. The last few weeks I've been working on making Christmas presents, or I've been working on stories or whatever, and I've been watching the older Marvel movies in chronological order. So I just finished Winter Soldier yesterday.
Oh, such a good one. That's
the
one of my favorites.
the older Marvel movies, fantastic,
Fantastic,
beautiful.
You know, you're not doing well when I watch the first Thor movies and I go, dang, these are pretty good.
They are pretty good though. That's the thing. Like they're not terrible.
But they were terrible compared to what we were getting. We were getting good stuff, but now we're regressing, and it's like, what is going on?
I think it's the difference between we were getting S tier movies with Captain America and Iron Man, and then we get Thor, which is more of an A tier or a B tier movie.
I would say B. I would say first one B, second one C, tier. Third one is S.
Absolutely.
But
now all the Marvel movies we're getting are
C tier less.
Yeah.
Some of them barely passing.
Like Shang-Chi, A tier.
A tier.
I love Shang-Chi. Spider-Man, A tier.
I love that one, but it is an A tier.
It's not quite S tier, but the
nostalgia was S tier.
The nostalgia was S tier, but it was yeah. Anyway, now we're getting movies and shows that are terrible.
The reason why this has started.
Exactly.
So,
like Thor Love and Thunder.
Oh my gosh.
Thor Love and Thunder. I'd put it at a low C tier.
No.
Very low C tier.
Nope, it's a
like
D.
Borderline D tier.
F that movie. That's the kind of F I give it.
The only reason I say that is because the story itself was a good story, but the execution sucked, and we already covered that.
We can edit it. I could probably take it, edit it, and take out bits, and it'd be 40 minutes long, and it would be a better movie because it would just be the basics.
Or we just do what we talked about, and we just make it serious instead of a joke with all the screaming goats and. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. I guess now it's been less than 20 minutes. We're good.
Good intro.
I thought that was good. Kind of get back and remind people what we do here. But this Christmas special, we are doing a countdown
of our top 5 favorite Christmas movies.
Movies.
I will say, there's not a ton.
No.
I was looking at lists of Christmas movies, and there's not as many as I thought there were. Most of them are just remakes of classic stories that we've already told.
Yeah.
I myself have left out How the Grinch Stole Christmas because we talked about it already. We talked about it last
But where
in
would
our last
you,
episode.
If you were to put it really quickly,
if I were to put it anywhere, it would be my number 1.
So we're talking like, are you talking about all three?
I'm talking about
or the Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey would be number 1 all the way. In general, as the entirety of Dr. Seuss's narrative of the Grinch, number 1 still. The whole thing, that whole story is number 1. And we already talked about it last week, how perfect it is and how just amazing the story and the characters are, and yeah.
I would put it as, and you know what, I'll just kind of, so I guess we're taking that out, and that's fine. But number 3, it's my number 3.
Number 3?
There's other 2 that, and I'm going to leave my number 1, even though, but it's my number 3. There's something that definitely beat it as my number 2, because, oh my gosh, I just, I wonder if you have it on there. But I have a question, though. What makes a Christmas movie? What would you say, like, this has to be a Christmas movie to make it a Christmas movie?
Okay, I'm gonna step on a lot of toes by this next comment. Just because it takes place during Christmas does not make it a Christmas.
I feel like that's
Christmas
one thing that has to happen.
It has to happen. But if it happens on Christmas, that doesn't automatically make it a Christmas
You're right.
movie.
Some of these romantic love movies, they're Christmas.
I'm gonna this next comment, I apologize, and this is my own personal opinion. My dad shares the same opinion.
It's Die Hard, isn't it?
No.
Oh.
It's about music.
Oh. Okay.
Just because the song mentions Christmas one time does not make it a Christmas song.
Oh, because
Last Christmas is my least favorite song in the entire world. I hate it so freaking much.
And I love it.
It's literally Last Christmas I gave you my heart. That is the only mention of Christmas in the entire song. That does not make it a Christmas Christmas song.
Technically, All I Want for Christmas Is You is then kind of the same thing.
No, because that is talking about a desire that they want for Christmas.
And it's talking about Christmas itself, not just a person.
An event that happened on Christmas.
Okay.
Right. That's the difference.
And I know I get that. So that I feel like is the spirit of it. So
it's got to have, movie-wise, it has to have the spirit of Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be some semblance of the spirit of Christmas
whether
in
it's
there
about
somewhere.
The birth of Christ, they're literally, the goal is about Christmas, or it's about Santa Claus, anything like that. Has to have that spirit of Christmas.
Yeah.
So Die Hard, it takes place on Christmas, but sadly, it's not a Christmas movie. Can you watch it during the Christmas season and it fits right in? Yes.
Absolutely.
And same with Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds.
I've actually seen that movie.
You have?
Uh-huh.
But it's not about Christmas. It's about him trying to get her. Mm-hmm. It takes place around the holiday season. They mention Christmas, but it's not about the Christmas spirit. That's why I think a lot of these Hallmark movies.
There are some. But no, I agree, because most of it's like, yeah, that's the setting, but it's not the spirit of Christmas. We're getting the classic love story trope that we've gotten a million times. It's just this time we've put a fancy red hat on them.
She was a businesswoman visiting her hometown and sees an old high school friend. Will they fall in love? I don't know. Will they? He has a small bakery and her business is going to buy it. What's gonna happen? You're like, okay.
Uh-huh. It's like, yep, we know they're gonna fall in love. What? We know they're gonna be together, but like,
he actually ends up with his male secretary. What? I would watch that. I would die if that was the ending.
That would be funny.
Yes.
That would be funny.
They both just realize who they are during the process, and at the end, I would watch that. I would die. I'm like, yes, but never explain that in any of the trailers. And at the end of the movie, people are like,
"That's honestly okay." I'm gonna step back and look at the broader picture trailers for a moment. Trailers nowadays,
I hate them.
Kind of annoyed. I kind of they kind of suck because they spoil the movie.
Totally.
How here.
That's why I'm worried about Kung Fu Panda 4. Mm-hmm. I'm so worried about it.
I'm going to pick on a video game trailer for a moment to illustrate my point. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The trailer, the teaser that we got for that game, all it showed was the first 2% of the game.
And that's fine.
It showed us the mechanics.
So you're not picking fun on it. You're praising it.
No, I'm praising it.
Okay.
This was the perfect trailer. This is how it should have been.
It totally looked like Princess Mononoke. I
Yeah.
loved it. I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, sorry.
It was perfect because everything that happened, if you haven't played the games, go play it.
Yeah.
I know you don't like it because it's too open world. But,
I'm sorry.
Anyway, if you haven't played it, go play it, because in the first, it's just a great game, great story. It is very open world. If that's not your thing, go play another Zelda game. They're all fantastic.
They are all fantastic. They are.
But the trailer to Breath of the Wild highlighted the most important things without spoiling it. We knew that we were going to fight Ganon. We knew that we had these new abilities. We knew that we had a paraglider and we could glide around. But that's about it. There was no story that was actually spoiled. Same with Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
The trailers we got for Tears of the Kingdom didn't spoil a thing.
It made you want to go play it because you want to know what else is going to happen.
Exactly.
It's called a teaser. That's what all trailers there shouldn't be a teaser trailer. There should just be a teaser trailer, and then that's it.
Yeah. With movies nowadays, the trailers that we're getting, in the first 5 seconds of the trailer, we've been spoiled the entire movie.
Too many times.
It happened. It happened.
I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, they did a decent job.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 did a really good
but
job.
I understand what you're going
like,
through. Too many times.
Too many
I'm like,
times.
I've seen the whole dang movie.
I'm cool with them spoiling the villain and saying, "Hey, this is the big bad that you got to fight." Even if they don't show it, right? Star Wars Episode 9, terrible movie. The trailer was great.
I had no idea who he was. Like, who is this guy? What is happening? Why does he have a crossbar in his saber? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Watching it on a little computer in Africa was amazing.
Episode 9, the last one.
7. I'm talking about 7.
Yes.
Sorry.
7 was great. 7 was awesome.
I don't even remember the trailer for 9.
Episode 9 was fantastic. They showed a few bits and pieces from scenes in the movie that made us feel a little nostalgic toward characters. They showed they showed the ruins of the Death Star, and we heard Emperor Palpatine laugh. That's it. They didn't spoil how the movie was going to happen. They didn't spoil any of it. That's how it should have been.
And
terrible movie.
You're right.
Awesome trailer. And that's how movie trailers should be.
It really should be like that. Because the thing is, it should make you go, this might be good or it might be bad. And guess what? You need to go to the theater to decide for yourself. Last point I'll make, and then we'll really get to this. But my parents always told me that when the Predator movie first came out, you never, ever saw it in the trailers. Even in posters, nothing. No one knew what it looked like going into the theaters. They heard the clicking noise. They saw the thermal vision. They saw maybe like its claw. And I looked up a few of the trailers, and you're just like, what is this thing? Even with Alien, you see like hints of its head, but
yeah.
And it's like, anyway, so bring back good trailers. Bring back good trailers.
Yep.
Dang, that's it's been good to have that discussion. I feel like that's very
it was
I like our tangents, and I don't care what anyone says. And I know some of you like it too. And funny enough, our last episode, my cousin was telling me that he absolutely went and watched the last Grinch Stole Christmas movie again. He goes, it completely changed my perspective and helped me enjoy it way more. And I'm like, good.
That's how it should be.
That's how it should be, because it's not a bad movie. It's just different. All right. Well, man, do you want to lead us off with the countdown?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a quick honorable mentions.
Oh, okay.
And I just realized that I was gonna do this and I forgot to do it. So I'm trying to figure out what it's actually called, what the movie is called.
I think an honorable mention for me is probably the first couple Harry Potter movies. I know that's not Christmas, but for some reason, they're just a good comfort movie to watch during the Christmas season.
Well, and there are the scenes happening at Christmas, and they're great.
And there's just something about them. Some people watch Lord of the Rings for Christmas.
I would watch Lord of the Rings all year round.
I know you would.
Lord of the Rings is just best.
Lord of the Rings is life.
I as I told you guys several episodes ago, Lord of the Rings is in my top 3.
Yep.
He's
probably going to name his son Aragorn. I'm just kidding.
I don't know if my wife will go for that.
Would you, though, if she was like, absolutely? I don't think I've ever met a child named Aragorn, and I don't know why. I'm like, why not? I've met Samwises. One of my buddies named his son Sam after Samwise. His name isn't Samuel. Well, I think it is Samuel. But he's called Sam for Samwise, but they didn't make his full name Samwise.
In high school I had a buddy who his nickname that his parents gave him was Samwise.
Aw.
And everybody called him Samwise. It was awesome.
Awesome.
But yeah, so I've got 4 honorable mentions.
Hit me.
Rudolph and Frosty.
Okay.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman.
Okay.
Awesome movies. They're not my favorites, but they're great, and they are classic. Gremlins. is fun. It's not the most
You're right.
Christmassy. I know I'm going against what I said earlier about having it.
But
It happens on Christmas, so it's a Christmas movie kind of thing. But Gremlins counts. In my heart, it counts.
They do push a lot about Christmas a
Yeah.
lot because they're like the Gremlins are gonna ruin Christmas. They're gonna whatever. I believe it. And it came out around Christmas time, so I don't know. I'll give it. I'll give it to you.
It's a good movie. Rise of the Guardians.
Ooh.
It is a great movie. I love it. It's not about Santa Claus, which makes me happy because it's a Christmas movie about another all-powerful being who's not all-powerful, but another figurehead of Christmas that's not Santa Claus. It's Jack Frost.
I really want us to make a sequel someday.
Yes.
I don't know how, but it's
It'll happen.
I want it.
And my last honorable mention, it was in my top 5 until I remembered about one of my other movies that's in there.
Okay.
And I'll mention that later when I get to that.
Okay.
But it's Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Oh.
It is. Anytime I think about Christmas movies, and I'm reminded of the Christmas Carol, every single time I remember Mickey's Christmas Carol with the first Uncle Scrooge McDuck, with Mickey Mouse and the gang, and it's the retelling of A Christmas Carol, which in my personal opinion is the epitome of a Christmas story.
Yep.
Of a good Christmas story. I don't know, it's just great, and it has some of my favorite characters ever. I love Mickey Mouse. I love Donald Duck.
Yeah.
Right?
And Scrooge McDuck.
I love how David Tennant is now Scrooge McDuck. It makes me so happy.
He's a wonderful Scrooge McDuck. It's amazing.
And
let's make it bigger. You're like, all right.
I love those characters, and seeing them reenact one of my favorite Christmas tales is fantastic. I am not including in my top 5. I am not including any Christmas Carol stuff because those would take up my top 5 with everything.
Okay.
The Muppets, the Mickey Mouse one would be number 1.
Oh,
in there. I'd just all of those.
Okay.
Are just great. And then the Grinch, because that's basically a Christmas Carol.
It's really
as we
hard.
talked about last week.
It's really hard to kind of be. I think we brought those two up for the epitome of it, and so I guess I'd have to agree. I guess I'll have to rethink of my list real quick because my number 1 would probably be renditions of the Christmas Carol. Namely, I don't know which ones I love. I went and saw. Funny enough, a few days after we recorded, I went and saw Christmas Carol with my mother and sister at the Hale Center Theater. You need to go someday.
Yeah.
Oh my, for anyone living here in Utah and has a chance, they do it every year on Christmas time. It's the only one they do that like repeatedly every year. They always do a Christmas Carol. It was amazing. And there's some things that were different. It was merely amazing how the special effects were. And I was choking up many times. Beautifully well done. So yeah, I think number 1 would be all around the Christmas Carol, whether it be the creepy Jim Carrey one, which I still love, the Muppet one. I think the Muppet one's my least favorite Christmas Carol, but Scrooged with Bill Murray, the Disney one. Ugh,
they're all great.
A few of my other notable, a few honorable mentions for me is actually A Christmas Story. You'll shoot your eye at. That's like,
I've never seen it.
Oh my goodness, you should.
I know. I've never seen it. It is on my list. I have my wife and I have a list for each other of movies that we've seen but the other hasn't. Lord of the Rings is on there for my wife. She's only seen half of it. She's seen the first one and half of the second one. We'll get there. I promise. I'm working on it.
He's working on it.
But on my list that I gave myself is A Christmas Story because I've never seen it. I want to. I just haven't.
And I think the other one I'll have to do a big kind of shout out to is it's a Disney, it's one of the Disney shorts, a Christmas short, and it's about Mickey and Minnie. It's the classic story of the two lovers who want to buy each other gifts You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So there are many
Yes.
renditions, but if I remember correctly, with the Mickey Mouse one, Mickey sells. What does he sell?
He sells his watch.
He sells his watch. I thought it was a harmonica.
Was it a harmonica?
Because the other one
the
was
original
watch.
story. It's his watch
And
to buy her a comb, and she sells her hair to get him a chain for his watch.
And in this one,
but
they
in this
did.
one,
She sold her bracelet. What did she sell? I'll have to remember. But it's just really cute because he sells his harmonica to buy her gift, and she sells something for her to buy him his gift, and they can't use each other's gift in the end
because they sold
and it's just so sweet, and I love it. Their hug at the end, like anytime people send me a gif of like a hug, it's always that one. I'm like, ah. Editor's note: the story we're talking about is from Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, and one of the shorts from that movie was called The Gift of the Magi. Mickey and Minnie play a couple. Mickey sells his harmonica to buy gosh darn it. Whew. Mickey and Minnie play a couple. Mickey sells his harmonica to buy a chain for Minnie's watch, and Minnie sells her watch to buy a box for Mickey's harmonica. It's one of our favorite stories. Oh, it's good.
Every retelling of a story that goes through Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse and that group of characters makes me so happy.
They need to get married. They're still not married.
Yeah, I know.
Apparently they're getting they're splitting.
No thanks.
It's like I think they're making a big scene because I've heard rumors that they were gonna make a big thing next year, that Mickey's gonna finally propose to Minnie, and then they will be canonically, thank you, married. So we'll see.
Okay.
So they're like, so he's gonna try not to have. Anyway, that's just some cute random thing. Anyway, so number 5.
Well, I've got one last honorable mention that I forgot about.
You're
until
ruining
now.
this whole episode.
I'm sorry. Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh, absolutely is a good.
Such a good one.
I want them to redo those.
And
start with The Magician's Apprentice.
Magician's Nephew.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm thinking
I love Narnia. It is one of my favorite. It's another one of my favorite stories.
Have you read all the books?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I've only read the first 3.
Many times.
I need to do it again. I don't want to.
They are so good. So good.
And so sad.
And so sad, but so good. But yeah.
Do you guys want to read about Lion Jesus?
Yep.
He is.
He is.
He is. You can't get, if anyone's offended, I don't care. That's literally what he is.
That's what C.S. Lewis wrote. It's how he wrote it.
He's a lion.
Anyway, I love that story, and particularly in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, there is a scene where Santa Claus straight up shows up.
Father Christmas, hey kids,
shows up, scares the crap out of them, and then gives them gifts. Santa Claus gives a child a sword,
and he's like, "I hope you don't use this." And you're like, "Oh,
yeah,"
and like the potion and everything. It's just so sweet.
It's all great, and I love Narnia, and I think that's my number 1 honorable mention, honestly. But moving on to my number 5.
Number 5.
Number 5 for me is Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh my gosh, you have that on your list?
I have it on my list.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to say this right now. I haven't seen it in probably 8 years, but it's so good. It's still so good. It's just such a classic movie, and it's just beautiful, very well made. And just the idea that, Jack goes, he leaves Halloween Town and finds Christmas. He's like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I love it. And then he tries to bring it back. It's just so cool. I love it.
Oh my gosh. So that, spoilers, is my number 3.
Okay.
It's funny because people are like, it's not a Christmas movie. I'm like, it is. They're like, it's a Halloween movie. I'm like,
both.
It's both. But I would argue that you seriously are out of Christmas within 20 minutes. The aesthetic is Halloween. But all you have to do with your Halloween Nightmare Before Christmas stuff is put a Santa hat on them, and bam, Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's a holiday movie. But Jack's journey is one of my favorites. I love the scene, and even yesterday I listened to it at work. I listened to the movie at work yesterday because I was like, I love this movie. But when Jack is, delivering gifts and he's like, they're celebrating us for the good job we're doing, and gets blown out of the sky and says, Merry Christmas to all and to all a good night, and just lands in the graveyard. To this day, the second the mayor says, terrible news, folks, I just don't know why it hits so bad. And I think the end is like the most Christmas of everything. And in my head canon, every year on Christmas, it snows in Halloween Town after that experience.
Yeah.
But the ending of Santa Claus fixing everything and Jack literally coming back to life for his people, and they get to have snow and a Christmas miracle. It's just the sweetest Christmas movie. It's one of the sweetest Christmas endings.
Yeah. It's a good one. The only reason it's not higher on my list is because I haven't seen it in so long.
I would highly suggest you watch it before Quitmouth.
I'm gonna guess that might be what I'm watching with my wife tonight.
Yeah.
But potentially, we'll see.
But really think about that ending when he comes back, and just think about what it really means. Like, oh, they get their Christmas miracle.
It's a really sweet movie, and I love it. And it's one of the most iconic movies too.
It's really become a staple. It wasn't really popular when it first came out, but the cult following that it's gotten it's 30 years old.
Jeez.
Yep. I think in November it turned 30.
Wow.
Yep.
It's older than you are.
It is.
It's ancient.
I know. This is the first time I've had a movie list. This is a movie. Actually, my number 5 is also older than me by a year, I believe, or it was that same year. Tim Allen's The Santa Claus.
Okay, that's my number 2.
It for me is a wonderful movie about just Santa Claus. I can't do anything wrong with it. It's super sweet. Tim Allen just kills it. I won't go too much because it's such higher up for you, so I'd love to know your reasoning, but I think for me it's just classic. Watching it now, you notice how many little elves are in the real world watching and listening, and just this man who really did believe in magic but also had just this cynical face. Like, he had so much spirit in him, but he just kept this cynical part, and just seeing him let it go and becoming Santa is just wonderful.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my number 5.
Okay. I love it. My number 4 is Home Alone.
I didn't even think about Home Alone. Wow. I think those are, for me, honorable mentions, 1 and 2, but dang.
I've only ever seen the first one.
Oh.
I've only ever seen the first one.
The second one.
What he does.
Sorry, there's a scene in, for anyone that's seen it, there's just one trap he does on Marv. And I did to this day. I was at work. We are all 20 to 30 7-year-old men in this area I work in, and we turned that scene on someone's phone because we're talking about it. Every single man was red-faced and dying because of it. And for you all, for anyone who's seen it, you exactly what I'm talking about. So watch the second one, Tim. But why do you love it so much?
There's three main reasons I love it. The number 3, the humor. It is so funny.
So funny.
It is such a funny movie. To put this in perspective, how much I love this movie and I love the traps. I was playing Dungeons and Dragons one time, of course. And our party, we had to set a bunch of traps. We were trying to set a bunch of traps, and we took inspiration from Home Alone. We set up the flamethrower at the door. We set up it was just caltrops. It wasn't the ornaments, but underneath all the windows. We had the buckets. They were just boulders that we swung down the stairs into the enemies. It was all because of Home Alone, and it's just awesome. Number 2 is the journey that Kevin goes through from being this super self-centered jerk who, doesn't really care about anybody to, I love Christmas. I'm going to help out this old man because he's helping me out. And I'm going to enjoy myself for Christmas. And he goes from, I wish I didn't have a family to, I wish for Christmas my family would come home. Right. And then number 1, my biggest reason why I love this movie is his mom.
Aww.
And just the way the way that she goes from being super annoyed at him, still loves him, obviously, because she is his mom, but super annoyed with him, leaves him behind on accident, doesn't even like realize it until they're on the plane. And then she does everything in her power to get home to her son. Everything in her power. She refuses to wait to fly. She gets into a bus or into a van with strange, creepy men and they end up taking her home so that she can be with her son on Christmas. Mm. That is why this is number 4 for me. It's just such a good movie.
You're really gonna like the second one then.
I'm really sure.
And it's really sweet. Or what's also crazy is she plays Sally in Nightmare Before Christmas, mm-hmm. and she actually was at his Hollywood star. He just got a Hollywood star.
Yeah,
and she was there.
Yeah,
and it's just I'm like, even after 30 plus years, she mm-hmm. still just supports that young man. Well, and he married what's her face from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Yeah, well, and there's the ads on TV and YouTube right now where
it's him,
where it's Kevin Hart, where it's her and Kevin Hart, and she screams Kevin, and he's like, "You lost another! I can't believe you lost another Kevin." I was like, it's just
I haven't seen that one. What the heck?
It's funny.
I'll have to find it.
It's Anyway. I love Home Alone. I think it's just such a good movie.
Such a good movie.
It's a classic.
This one might be kind of controversial for some, just because they hate how it looks. But number 4 is Polar Express for me.
Oh, I forgot about Polar Express. Oh no.
Polar Express for me is it's one of my favorites, and I think I had the book growing up. Mm-hmm. I had it, and the author of that book also, I believe, did Jumanji. But I had the book, loved the story. The movie came out, and I absolutely loved it. But I will never get over the scene, and it's my favorite to this day. Even coming up on 29 years of life, every time he holds the bell and just tries so hard.
I believe.
And he just says, I believe. And I take that into many things, whether that be my faith or anything like that. I just find that sometimes just accepting that you don't know, but you believe, that's enough sometimes. You just got to act on it.
I think I have to retcon my list.
Uh-oh.
I think Polar Express is my number 4, and Home Alone is pushed down to 5, and that means that Nightmare Before Christmas is bumped out to an honorable mention.
All right, I'll take it.
That is such a good movie.
It is. And I love how people probably listening going, "How could you guys forget it?" Because you just don't think about them until Christmas.
Yeah. My top 10 favorite movies of all time, I think about those often. But these ones, I only think about during December.
They replace all my movies during Christmas.
Uh-huh.
If people, you want to watch this? No, it's Christmas time. If you try to ask me November, I'll slap you. But December, it's Christmas. I'm watching Christmas movies on the weekends. Don't you do nothing. Well, dang. So if that bumped it down, that doesn't change your number 3. Then.
It doesn't change your number 3.
Number 3.
My number 3 is one of the cutest movies I've ever seen. I love it so freaking much.
Is it rather new?
Huh?
Is it rather new?
It is rather new. I think you know what it is.
I think I know what it is.
I watched it for the first time with my wife last Christmas. And it's just so good. Maybe it wasn't with my wife. I think it was just with my family. Anyway, it's Klaus.
Oh my gosh.
It is such a cute movie. I love it so much. And the origins of the Russian Santa Claus, the Russian version of Santa Claus, is just.
I thought this was the Finnish one because the Salmi.
Finnish.
Salmi are.
I think you're right. The whatever.
So just the upper north.
Uh-huh.
Just like they probably bled in so many regions of. Mm-hmm. It's just cool. I agree with you. Yeah. I didn't mean to whack, but it's just cool to see the. Because Salmi is, I believe, like a dialect of. I don't know. It's just up north. The North people. Our heritage are very, very far. Well, for me, far heritage. For you, it's really close to you.
Yep.
I got 5% Norwegian. This man's full on like
half.
Anyway, sorry.
It's just such a cute movie.
So
I
cute.
love it so much. I love just how we're able to watch Santa Claus go from being an old man who wants his alone time, he misses his wife, to I'm gonna help these people. I'm gonna help these people. I'm gonna help this kid. This poor post boy.
The Emperor Cusco.
The Emperor Cusco. Yep. And it's just, it's so cute. And the end where every scene where we get the wind blowing the wind chimes, it just makes my heart melt, and it's just,
if you haven't seen it, I will watch it. I am not going to comment because
it's on your list.
It's on my list.
Yep.
So.
I figured. It's such a good movie.
Oh, well, we've already talked about my number 3. That was Nightmare for Christmas, and like I said,
why do you? I guess we talked about why you love it.
It never to mind. Me is just there's so many things of. I think it's just a good lesson of to be happy with what you have, but to also it's okay to learn about other places and other people, but it's not okay to try to. I think it's it is probably the only way I will actually take on the subject of cultural appropriation to some degree, because he really does tries to mimic it out of love, but it's just not the same, and it ends up becoming something worse. No child, and I did mention the scene where he falls, because that to me is like the epitome. That is when I mentioned how I want some drawings of Disney moments that affected me. But Little Willem, I used to watch that movie almost every day. Like that one, Hercules, and Iron Giant, Hunchback of Notre Dame are like up there. Nightmare Before Christmas is in my top 10 movies, probably for sure. Not my top 5. I don't know. We talked about top movies, and I'm really sad I didn't bring it up there. But I can quote that movie word for word. But the scene of, the mayor of Halloween Town announcing, and then we see the humans seeing it. And, attention everyone, although the imposter has been stopped, there's still no sign of Santa Claus. And it looks like Christmas will have to be canceled. And Jack is just sitting there in the arms of that angel, listening. And he just goes, "What have I done?" And it's just amazing. And again, the ending of the Christmas miracle they all receive. Santa Claus fixes everything. Jack is brought back, just like Ebenezer Scrooge and the Grinch. They are literally come unto themselves, and they return with honor, except it's a little happy take. Instead of wanting to be with new people, he was trying to leave everything. He's the reverse of the Grinch and Ebenezer Scrooge, and that's why I think that's why to me it's like one of the perfect Christmas movies, because we know it, but it's just flipped on its head, just like that movie is. It is completely crazy as Tim Burton wrote it. It is insane. Oh, sorry, I can go on for a long time.
You're good.
All right, but that was number 3.
Okay, my number 2 is Tim Allen's Santa Claus. Growing up with my grandparents, my my grandparents would make us watch it so often, and it just became a staple in our home where every Christmas time we would watch the Santa Claus. We would watch all three. And the first one is the best. Objectively, it's the best of the three.
I like the second one
The second one's good.
Third gets weird.
The third, yes. I'm gonna kind of lump the first two together though.
Okay.
Because the first one, obviously, we talked about it for a moment. We talked about how it's basically about how this man does believe, and he's struggling to be Santa Claus. He's struggling to figure out his how he's going to do things. He's learning. And then the second one, he's got to find a wife. And it's like
the Mrs. Claus.
The Mrs. Claus. And it's like, whoa, okay. That's clever.
That was clever.
I thought that was awesome.
Santa Claus needs a Mrs. Claus.
Yeah. And so growing up with my grandparents, right, one of the decorations that my grandma has is a Santa Claus and a Mrs. Claus. And I believe they're both, if I'm probably wrong, but I believe they're both wind up music boxes.
Is this on your mother's side, your father's side?
My dad's mom.
Okay.
My dad's parents.
Okay.
Anyway, seeing those everywhere, right? Seeing those all over the house, or just thinking about them while I'm all over the house, etc. We only had the one pair, but it was just it's a very cute visual. And then watching the Santa Claus 2, where he's got to find a partner to help him with Christmas, it's cute, and I love it. The third one was weird. The cloning thing was just, I don't know. It was weird.
No. The second one is that's the evil Santa, the plastic Santa. That's the second one. The third one is with Jack Frost.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And that's why, and it's funny that you completely lump.
I forgot about Jack Frost.
Yep.
The plastic Santa one was weird.
The plastic Santa was weird, but
it was fun, but it was weird. I'm remembering Jack Frost now.
Okay.
That was weird.
That's funny. So you love, fun. After the final act of the second movie makes it weird, and that's why for me it's not that memorable.
Mm-hmm.
I do like everything up. I love when he gives all the adults presents. He's limited with his magic he can use. I love how people still approach him. Little kids will still approach him and being Santa, even though he looks like Scott Calvin. Mm-hmm. It's good, and I just love when he gives everyone gifts at the end of the first one, and his ex-wife and her new husband are just little kids again. You're like, oh,
mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just in my personal opinion, it is one of the most iconic Christmas movies out there. You can say Tim Allen Christmas or Santa Claus, and everybody knows what you're talking about.
For the most part, yeah. Some people don't like it, but I think you're silly for that.
Yeah, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. My opinion trumps yours in this right,
this
right
is
here.
Our
podcast.
This is our podcast.
But yeah, I just love it, and all of the stories put together for the Santa Claus is just awesome. I have not seen the newest, the little series.
I haven't either.
With Gabriel Iglesias and all of them. I haven't seen it.
I know I should, but
I've heard it's decent, but I've also heard that it's not. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I hear that about everything though. Everything that's new.
My number 2, it's going to spoil number 1 for sure. But my number 2 is Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown. Mm-hmm. It's an iconic tradition in my family. I love Charlie Brown. He's one of my favorite characters of all time. He's very sweet. And this classic movie of just having this young man trying to find what Christmas is, and he's all upset because everyone around him is upset. This is about getting gifts. Linus, when he finally asks at the party, does anyone know the true meaning of Christmas? And little Linus, and if I remember, he doesn't quote it with his blanket. I think he leaves his blanket behind, and he says in pure confidence, I might be wrong, and either way, it's okay. But that little boy does his best to quote a few scriptures from the book of Luke, from the New Testament, and walks up to him and says, "That's the true meaning of Christmas, Charlie Brown." And just the ending, when they take his little tree that I'm literally staring at a little fake copy on my table right now. They work together to, give it some love, and they turn into a beautiful Christmas tree. Just great Christmas. I usually watch that around Christmas Eve, so I still got a couple days. It's the one I reserve for, like, it is countdown to Christmas. Time to put on Charlie Brown.
Yep. Love it. That's got to be an honorable mention for me.
Dang.
It's not my number one.
Oh, wow.
My number one is Elf.
Really? That's an honorable mention for me. It's not.
And it's not everybody's favorite. But Elf is just awesome. It's classic. Everybody knows it, Everybody, it is one of the most quotable Christmas movies, I think.
Santa!
I know him. It's so cute, and it's got the little love story in there, and it's also got like all of the tropes. It's got everything.
It's got so good.
It's got the love story. It's got the change of heart. It's got the I believe. It's got it all.
It's got Santa.
It's got Santa, right? And it's just cute, and I love it just so much.
Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad.
I have said that quote at least 100 times this year.
Every time I say bye to people, I know it's funny that I don't really like that movie, but since everyone loves it so much, I respect it. I'll watch it every now and then. I'll watch it every couple years, but there's just too many cringe moments for me, especially with Will Ferrell. But for the most part, it's a sweet movie. It's cute, and
I think my favorite scene in the entire movie is toward the end when they're all helping Buddy try to, I guess they're all trying to help everybody believe.
The greatest way
and
to
feel
spend Christmas cheer is singing aloud for all to hear.
Yeah.
Is that the line?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just so good because everybody believes after that, or everybody at least has the spirit of Christmas. And then Santa's able to show up and able to fly. Right. And they've got to keep everybody away from Santa. They've got to keep the horsemen away from Santa Claus.
Yeah. What is it? Oh man,
something about them being on the naughty list or something.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
He's like, he's never forgiven me for putting him on the naughty list, and you're like, oh, that was Mr. Muntz, not Mr. Muntz, Mr. Ferguson from Up.
Yeah,
Santa is Mr. Ferguson. So I think
Fredrickson.
Sorry,
Yep.
Ferguson. Who's Ferguson? Oh man, well, I think before I say mine, then I gotta ask though, what is the Christmas spirit to you? And just kind of separate, because I had this discussion. I'm like, how do you separate it from just in general? Like, what makes Christmas so special? What makes the Christmas spirit come?
I think there's two aspects to it, and one of the big things is the religious part. And if you're not religious, that's okay, but we are, and we believe in Jesus Christ, and we believe in his birth, and celebrating his birth is the main reason I celebrate Christmas, right? Because I believe, and just being able to recognize that as one of the most important parts of my own life, that's what makes Christmas for me. This is a time where everybody can celebrate the Savior of the world. The other part of Christmas is family, and as Dom
Togetherness,
Toretto would
yeah.
say,
It's all about
it's all about
family.
family. Um, it really is. Having this time to spend lots of time together, um, over the next several days, we've my wife and I are going to be doing a lot of traveling.
Oh,
Um, we've got
yeah,
a
I gotta travel tonight to a party.
Yep, we've got a party that we're going to at my parents' house tomorrow for dinner with my dad's side of the family. Sunday night we're going to my grandparents on my mom's side,
Oh wow.
or on my stepmom's side, not my
Ah.
mom.
Oh,
We're
sorry.
not going to Norway, not this year.
Sorry, my bad. Sorry for
Um,
assuming. My bad.
Going to my stepmom's family and having a party there. Christmas Day, we're gonna spend the morning with my parents, and then afterward we're gonna go up to her parents' house and have dinner with them, and it's just all the travels. And then later next week we're gonna go up to Idaho for a day and spend time with my wife's family again.
It's
And it's just all the family, and it's great.
love it. Love it.
The last several weeks I have been working on Christmas gifts for my family. um I have been making gifts for my brothers and my dad. I found some gifts for my sisters, and my mom finally gave me an idea of what I could get her.
It's always moms.
Always.
Like, what do you want? I just want you to be happy. Well, you're not. I'm just kidding.
What would make me happy is if you gave me something to actually give you.
What would make me happy is I wish I knew what I got my mom for Christmas. Well, if you're happy, I'm happy. Mom, stop it.
Yeah.
Love you, Mom.
And then my biological mother, I have a gift for her. I don't know when I'm going to get it to her because she lives in Colorado. But it really is just, I've spent so much time putting in effort to make these gifts for my family because I love them. And that's what Christmas is to me. It's the religious aspect and the family aspect together. When we can celebrate all of it together, that's what makes Christmas.
I think I'll agree. I was definitely raised up on the spirit of Christmas as in, giving, loving, and then older I got, the more Christ came into it, especially in my teenage years, really focusing, especially really realizing what Linus was saying in the Charlie Brown special. But I truly think that spirit of giving and, as, I think I'll just transition to my number one, because I think that it really captures the spirit of Christmas very well, is Klaus. It shot up. Again, originally my number one is Christmas Carol. But if we're taking those away for this episode, number one is Klaus. I watched that movie for the first time and went, oh my gosh, this is probably the best Christmas movie I have ever seen. I watched it like 2 weeks ago again. Oh my gosh, I can't think of even, it's so well done. One true act of kindness will always spark another. And that is just wonderful that during Christmas, people want to be kind, and it's just sparking. And it's just wonderful just to see the kindness. And it stinks that around this time of year, and especially what's going on nowadays, there's just so much contention. It just seems like just kindness once in a while from all around would be wonderful. And for people like, well, many people don't celebrate Christmas. You're right. But even during Hanukkah and the times that I've, the times when I was younger and we had people who celebrated and taught us about Hanukkah, it was about a time of giving and remembering and, getting ready for new beginnings. We just had the winter solstice, which sparks so many of these traditions from all around the world, and where Christianity replaced many of the pagan stuff with Christian things. So just to get ready for winter and getting ready for new beginnings and for hoping for safety, and in this literal time of darkness for many parts of the world, it's just nice to have light. But I think with Klaus, it's funny enough that I'm not really focused on Klaus as a character, but Jasper. I think that his growth to me is really why I love that movie so much. Because I thought it was going to really be about Klaus, Santa, but it wasn't. It was this young man who was Emperor Cusco, basically. Just, I don't give a crap what you think, and just does whatever. And he even trying to do good, he didn't have good intentions. But at the end, he goes. But the scene that makes the movie for me is he gets this, he tries his best, and with Klaus's help, he makes this cute gift for Margot, a little Sami girl who doesn't speak English. She can't communicate, and he uses the teacher of the town he's in to learn what she wants. He makes her gift, and when she gets up, you don't even have to speak their language, but you know that she's going, "Mom, Dad, the present came," and they're playing with it. And when she does her little yoo-hoo, just gets me every time. And just, you see Jasper's like freaking out after, and we see that, you know, Klaus is remembering why he did this originally. And then the end of the movie, you just feel good, and you love it,
and you want to spend Christmas happy.
I want to spend it happy, and I want to, yeah, it's wonderful. But yeah, I feel like those are our top 5 movies. But is there any stories outside of movies, books, anything that like you'd want to talk about or share real quick before we kind of close things off? Is there any story, or have we just covered all your favorite stories?
I think we've covered it all. The only, I guess, the only other bit is the actual Christmas story in the Bible. And everybody knows at least a little bit of what that is.
Yeah.
Most people have a nativity set up. Most people
looking at mine across the room. There's mine. Wise men are up in the other corner of the room.
We got one. My wife's coworker gave us a nativity because we didn't have one. So we have it set up right in the center of our entertainment system.
Oh, awesome!
Right in front of the TV.
Oh,
so while we're watching TV, we can look down and
baby Jesus.
There's baby Jesus. There is a tradition that I think would be really cool that a lot of people in Chile have. And I'm sure a lot of other people have it too. But they leave the manger empty. And then
I've heard of this.
And then Christmas morning, you put the baby Jesus in the manger, and it's just super cute. And it's a fun tradition that I think my wife and I might start next year.
I think the only tradition I do with the nativity differently is I have the wise men always separate. That's kind of a tradition I've done these past couple years living alone, or living with people, is I set up the nativity, and then the wise men are always coming from the east, you know, because they follow the star. So I like that stuff. I think the only story that hasn't really been mentioned is one that my father always reads to us, and I'm kind of curious if it's okay. It's not that long of a story. Do you mind if I just
go for
read it for everyone? All right,
please do.
All right. Okay, hopefully you all will forgive me for reading you a little Christmas story, but this is the Christmas special, so I'm not even gonna apologize, because I honestly was planning on doing something like this anyway. But since I kind of sparked this question, I was like, you know what, we'll do it now. But kind of backstory on this. This is a story that my father would read to us every year at Christmas, and it is, to me, something very special. And I hope you all will enjoy it, and I hope you all will forgive me for giving some personal indulgence in here. But thank you, Tim, for letting me read this for everybody. So this is called Trouble at the Inn. Whew. For many years now, whenever Christmas pageants are talked about in a certain little town in the Midwest, someone is sure to mention the name of Wallace Perling. Wallace's performance in one annual production of the Nativity play has slipped into the realm of legend, but the old-timers who are in the audience that night never tire of recalling exactly what happened. Wally was 9 that year and in the 2nd grade, though he should have been in the 4th. Most people in town knew that he had difficulty keeping up. He was big and clumsy, slow in movement and mind. Still, Wally was well liked by other children in his class, all of whom were smaller than he. though the boys had trouble hiding their irritation if the uncoordinated Wally asked to play ball with them. More often, they'd find a way to keep him off the field, but Wally would hang around anyway, not sulking, just hoping. He was always a helpful boy, a willing and smiling one, and the natural protector, paradoxically, of the underdog. Sometimes, if the older boys chased the younger ones away, it would always be Wally who'd say, "Can't they stay? They're no bother." Wally always fancied the idea of being a shepherd with a flute in the Christmas pageant that year, but the play's director, Miss Lombard, assigned him to the more important role. After all, she reasoned, the innkeeper did not have too many lines, and Wally's size would make his refusal of lodging to Joseph more forceful. And so it happened that the usual large partisan audience gathered for the town's Yuletide extravaganza of the staffs and creches, of beards and crowns, halos, and the whole stage full of squeaky voices. No one on stage, on or off, was more caught up in the magic of the night than Wallace Purling. They said later that he stood in the wings and watched the performance with such fascination that from time to time Miss Lombard had to make sure he didn't wander on stage before his cue. Then the time came when Joseph appeared, slowly, tenderly guiding Mary to the door of the inn. Joseph knocked hard on the wood door set in the painted backdrop. Wally, the innkeeper, was there waiting. "What do you want?" Wally said, swinging the door open with a brisk gesture. "We seek lodging." "Seek it elsewhere." Wally looked straight ahead, but spoke vigorously. "The inn is full. Sir, we have asked everyone in vain. We have traveled far and are very weary. There is no room in this inn." Wally looked properly stern. "Please, good innkeeper, this is my wife Mary. She is heavy with child and needs a place to rest. Surely you must have some small corner for her. She is so tired. Now," for the first time, the innkeeper relaxed his stiff glance and looked down at Mary. With that, there was a long pause, long enough to make the audience a bit tense with embarrassment. "No, be gone," the prompter whispered from the wings. "No," Wally repeated, "be gone." Joseph sadly placed his arms around Mary, and Mary laid her head upon his shoulder, and the two of them started to move away. The innkeeper did not return into his inn, however. Wally stood there in the doorway, watching the sad couple. His mouth was open, his brow was creased with concern, and his eyes, unmistakably, were filled with tears. "Don't go, Joseph," Wally called out. "Bring Mary back." And Wallace Purling's face grew into a bright smile. "You can have my room." Some people in town thought the pageant had been ruined, yet there were many others, so many others, who considered it the most Christmas of all Christmas pageants they had ever seen. The end.
You're gonna make me cry. That is adorable.
It is, and it's funny because I thought a lot of people had heard that story. And I'm pretty sure there might be some people in the Midwest who've heard it, but my father has had that tradition in his family, and he passed it on to me and my sisters, and I need to find a physical copy because I can't find it anywhere else. But yeah, that's the story, and thanks for letting me read that.
Of course. Thank you for reading it. That was
perfect for the Christmas special.
Awesome.
I think it really reflects on the spirit of Christmas. You don't have to believe in you don't have to be Christian to appreciate just the kindness of that story. Just to go, wait, come back. You can have my place. So, just very sweet. Well, with that, I would say that's it.
I think so. I genuinely hope that each of you has a fantastic holiday season, whether you celebrate Christmas or not. I hope that some semblance of true joy can find its way into your lives. And I really hope that all of you can find somebody to spend Christmas with, because Christmas is not a time to be alone.
Absolutely not.
It's time to spend with those that you care about the most.
I really do hope that everyone here has a wonderful holiday season. And from all of us here at, Hear Me Out Pitch, we wish you all Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We'll see you all in a couple weeks. And happy holidays. See you later, pitches. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.